All right. I believe our sports network. Such a time as this, we apologize. We had some technical difficulties. We finally got them straightened out. So hope everybody's having a happy, safe Saturday in the winter wonderland of upstate South Carolina. And guess what, folks? It's game day. Yes, that's correct. It's game day. Clemson's at Little John here in about 10 minutes ago. We're going to do like a short show. Like I said, we have some technical difficulties we had to work through. Some IT stuff. We got it all corrected finally. About 10 minutes till tip off. Anybody, we were planning on going to the game, but unless you've been sleeping on a rock and hadn't looked out the window, there's a bunch of white stuff all over the place, and it's continuing to come down. So we're not going to the game today. So we're here live in Greer, South Carolina, at corporate office. So I'd like to do a shout out to the South Carolina Gun School. A guy named Chris owns that. They're at 8114 Greenville Highway in Easley. scgunschool.com. You can get out there and get your concealed permits. They got all kind of classes and schools going on out there. Get your carrying permit, concealed weapons permit, train. Go to his website, look it up. Also on his Facebook site, they got a lot of stuff. Get signed up on their newsletter. They always send out a lot of interesting stuff. Also like to shout out Michael Dent, Sweetwater Electric, Vapor Nation, Conductor, CBD Greer, Bracken Real Estate. Sassy's, downtown Clemson, the oldest boutique in Clemson. And so we got a lot going on. We're in the last day of January, just like that, getting into the new year. Football is kind of winding down in a sense that there's no games, but there's a lot of noise and a lot of activity going into the off season. And I was talking about it we're all talking on podcasts. It's basically been the main conversation when we go back there. It's all about the portable and transfer portable and NIL and what's going on, how that's changed college football. And David Pollack was on ESPN the other day and said, something that isn't done between the Ole Miss Clemson situation that the NCAA doesn't want to draw a line somewhere in the sand. They ruined the sport that we all enjoy. And to be honest with you, 10 years ago, 8 years ago, we didn't talk about anything like this. Now, I've always said, because the stuff's always been going on, we know that. Some people got caught, some people didn't. There's always been something going on behind the scenes before the NIL. Danny Ford, one time, they said something about him buying a student a biscuit, for God's sakes. And they were thinking that's a violation of, persuading a player. But, there have been cases where a player comes to a college and all of a sudden comes from a family, doesn't have a lot of money, anything, next day shows up in a brand new Trans Am or, a Rolex watch or something like that. So stuff's been going on. Now it's legal, but it's really gotten to be like the Wild Wild West. And we've been talking about it on the podcast. And you really think about it, when everything was going down in the 80s and the 90s with Clemson got fined for something. Clemson lost the ball game. Carolina did. I don't think there's a team out there, any team that's worth anything that didn't get a violation during that 20-year period. And SMU was the poster child of the Pony Express where they got the death sentence. And there was a lot of stuff going on out there with Eric Dickerson and all. And so now, it's legal. It's legal. But what does the NCAA do? And what I'm saying is that every time back in the day, have you ever watched back in the day, The Blind Side, this movie I'm trying to think about, there's some stuff going on there, where he's in the movie, and it's actually based on a true story. But they were always regulating something where it had to do with something monetary, usually about 90% of the time. So what exactly does the National Collegiate Athletic Association do, the NCAA? What did they actually do now? It makes you wonder. What I think, and what I think a lot of people would agree with me on, is they need to be the agency that regulates the NIL and the portal. And they haven't really come up with an agency that does that. There's nothing in writing where it says that the NCAA regulates that. And so all this stuff's been transferred over to the NCAA for them to look at it. Like Dabo said, tampering 101, tampering 201, tampering 301. You got different levels of tampering. But when a guy comes on campus, flies in from California, signs a lease on an apartment, signs a contract, a legal document that lawyers drew up, there's got to be something in there that says that you just can't, once you do that, jump ship. And starts practicing and enrolls in school, you think it's a done deal. So they say money's the root of all evil. I'm here to say money is not the root of all evil. It's the love of money. It's when people do stuff and greed gets in there. And I mean, I can't say anything else because if the guy, if he would have offered him less money, let's get real, he wouldn't have gone to Ole Miss. So Ole Miss coach texts him in math class at 8 a.m. and says, I heard you sign. What's your buyout? What's your buyout? You know, what's your buyout? That's all you need to say. If you got a million, we're going to give you 2 million. And so that's blatant tampering. He had already signed. He already was committed to Clemson. Like Dabo said, like a lot of us, I think we'd agree. Do we really even want him back? I mean, if he wanted to come back, you know, the guy don't want to be with us, we don't want to be with us. But, you know, to go through all that, there's got to be somewhere where you draw a line in the sand. Stuff like this just can't happen. So anyways, that's going on. Baseball will be kicking up here in a little bit. Basketball, favorite time of the year for basketball. Clemson's looking strong. We came off a 14-point victory down there in Atlanta last Saturday. Last Saturday against Georgia Tech. We've had a week off basketball. And, you know, 14 points, solid game down there in Georgia Tech and Atlanta. And, you know, I don't know what it is. The guy that Coach McNeese that actually was at Clemson is now the head coach of NC State. He just has our number, Will. And Will comes down to Clemson last week. I mean, we haven't played in a week, so I'm getting a little behind. I'm used to like 2 games. It was actually not last Saturday, but the Tuesday. So it's about 10 days or so ago. He comes down there and he beats Clemson. He's beat us with McNeese, and now he's beat us with NC State. Not a bad game. We gave him a game. Every game, like we had Wayne Buckingham on the podcast Tuesday night. Every game that Clemson's played that we've lost, we could easily be undefeated. Missing 3 throws down at the end of the game, and that's basically why we lost, and too many fouls. But I'm still high on the hog. I'm saying this. I've said it since the beginning of the season. I think this is the best basketball team we've ever had. Not that we have any outstanding Michael Jordans or, you know, guys like that. They're just lighting it up with 30, 40 points. Everybody's consistent. Everybody plays well together. The defense is solid. It's the number 1 defense in the ACC. We're real high ranked, and people like defense ain't sexy, but it doesn't matter if it's sexy or not. Defense wins championship. Offense wins games. And you got a great defense, whether that's football, whether it's baseball, whether it's basketball, and you keep the team down to a level where they're not scoring a lot of points, it makes it a lot easier. Point in case, if y'all don't even remember Oklahoma back around 2014, 15, 16, they were putting up 40 points a game in football and couldn't make it to the playoffs. Why? Because their defense was absolutely terrible. They were allowed about 44 points. So when you got a great defense and you're blocking well, you're getting rebounds, you're not making a lot of errors. We got a lot of turnovers too. The offense is clicking too, and we're making 3-pointers. Porter out there hits every 3-pointer he wants. So anyhow, we got Miami. Looking into the schedule. The football schedule came out a couple days ago. Of course, a lot of y'all know we're playing LSU at LSU. And then, just the 3 games I'm highlighting, basically. We've got LSU down at the Bayou, down in the Death Valley, not the real Death Valley. We're playing them. That's going to be an interesting game. And then we got Miami at home. And I'm just kind of curious to see, after Miami with their national championship run, making it to the finals, who they get in the portal, who returns, who's going to be their quarterback. That ought to be a good game. And I also want to point out Georgia Tech will be in Clemson, and that is definitely going to be a rematch game of that last-second kick that we lost on last year. So those 3 games I highlight. All the other games are just kind of the usual thing I guess you can talk about is California and Stanford. We're playing 2 games in California. Imagine that. The Atlantic Coast Conference playing on the West Coast. Make it make sense, people. Make it make sense. Make it make sense that California and Stanford is in the ACC. I don't know how many fans are that dedicated, unless you got somebody playing on the team, you got a family member, coach or something that's going to fly out to California, Stanford, and for a football game. Now, if it was a national championship game, I get it. But so anyhow, I don't like that. I never liked it when they announced it. I thought somebody liked it. But so anyhow, we're getting into February. Will be tomorrow. And we'll be getting into March Madness, and I'm excited about that. And I was talking to Wayne Buckingham, and he on the podcast he held his fist up, his hand. He had his ring on there, and I said, "I just look. I think we'll do well March Madness, let's just win an ACC championship. And he's like, yeah, I don't want to be the only team that won for Clemson. So how does that happen? Well, we got Big Bad Duke. Big Bad Duke. That seems to be the Goliath that we need to beat. So anyways, one game at a time, one play at a time. Okay. We got Pittsburgh today. Let's go do business down there at Little John, get that done, and then go out to California and win a couple out there in the West Coast and show how Southerners know how to play basketball. Not going to keep this podcast too long. We had all kind of weird technical difficulties. I'm not an IT guy, but somehow I figured it out on my own. That's why we're so late. So anyways, what else? That's about it, man. I mean, basketball, the gymnastics team's doing really well. Also, the women's basketball team's doing really good also. So anyways, just want to thank all our sponsors. I especially want to thank South Carolina Gun School. Go out there and get a concealed permit. Tell them IBO sent you. Also, Bracken Real Estate, they're coming up for renewal. Also, Rob, if you're watching, go down there and get you an inspection. Get them to give so much percentage off if they refer and tell you that I Bleed Art sent you. We're doing the spring game, which will probably be the first Saturday because it usually is 99% of the time. We'll be doing a show over at Bixby's. We do the show after the game because you can't really, when Clemson's playing Clemson, you can't really, and it's a new season. So we wait till the game's over with, and we do it a couple hours at Bixby's. It's so nice to allow us to do it down there. We're going to have Sassy's down there. We got 2 openings for 2 sponsors, and we usually do about an hour and a half show, have 3 sponsors come on, get the word out, get excited, break down. We saw in spring game the new guys, transfer portables, quarterback situation, orange and white. I don't know if you went to the spring game last year. The way they play that orange and white game is just weird. It's just weird. All new rules. I mean, all new rules. It's like they don't even do scores like a football game. It ain't like if you score a touchdown and a field goal, touchdown 7 points, field goal 3. It's a whole new scoring system. We're sitting there like, what in the world is going on? So the main thing about the spring game is you don't care if the orange wins or the white wins. The main thing you want to see is who's out there, who's doing what, who looks good in the spring game. Main thing you want to see is no injuries. No injuries. But you want to see how the quarterbacks are playing in the quarterback race. You want to see how the new portals are coming in. So, how can you pull from Clemson against Clemson? You're playing each other. So you just want to – you're basically looking at players. You're not really caring if the orange wins or the white wins. You're looking at who's making the plays on defense, who's not making the plays, who's catching the ball, who's dropping the ball, who's running good, who's blocking, blah, 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 blah. And then you do a show. You get a little taste of football. It's free. It's free. You go down there. Parking's free. Spring game's free. It's a good time when you're going through that lull. And you ain't had no football. You have a little football there in the spring. And you can kind of hang out, chill out, and not get too nervous because you really don't care who wins. So you'll join us out there. Come in a couple months. We'll go live after the game over at Bixby's. And then we'll probably usually go out to eat over at Walk-On's, Dabo's restaurant down the road there. So anyways, let's get a win at Little John today. Y'all stay safe, stay out of the snow. If you're going to go out in the snow, don't go out there unless you have to. And if you have to, drive carefully because the roads are not good. And that's about it. I'm not really going to get into the Super Bowl because I really don't care who wins. And so I'm just ready for March Madness kind of ramp up. Let's get in there. Let's get a little closer to football. Let's see how that pans out. And like I said, before you know it, I used to do it. I just ain't got time to do it. Used to do a countdown Facebook page every day, and like we got 199 days, 12 hours, 43 minutes, and 38 seconds. So just ain't got time to do that anymore. Actually, we got it on the website. Our website counts down to game day. I always tell people it seems like it takes forever for football to get here, and yeah, we're not still in January. We're really not that far off of that last game that was playing the national championship. But usually when it gets around about 99 days, it just flies by. And then you get there, the magical time of the season, the most wonderful time of the year, college football. It's the Christmas, the game day, the first game. And then you're like, man, I wish time would just like stand still, slow down, stand still. The next thing you know, it's Christmas time, it's New Year's, and here you are again. The older you get, the faster you go. Faster it goes. So sorry about the delay today. We appreciate all our sponsors. We're doing the best we can every day to get the word out, get people in there. We've got a lot of other stuff going on. I don't have time to talk about as far as marketing and what we can bring to the table. And just have some things over the last month or so change where we can actually do a lot more around Clemson for a lot of the vendors and businesses. So anyways, the best is yet to come. Like I always say, you ain't seen nothing yet. 2026 is going to be the best year ever. Let's go. And all God's children said, go Tigers. Until next time.